One of the best things about living in Georgetown is the community. Community, you may ask. How do you get community in a big city? In Georgetown, you get it. There are lots of groups that were designed, that were formed to build, support, and maintain the community of Georgetown. Everything from environmental causes to the citizens and how they get to live their lives. The community of Georgetown, that's what we're going to talk about today, and we're starting right now. I'm Sherry Ann Green with Coldwell Banker. Welcome to my YouTube channel that guides home sellers and home buyers in Washington, DC and Northern Virginia. One of the great things about living in a city like Washington is you can get lost in the neighborhood. You can venture into a neighborhood you don't know a lot about, grab dinner, walk around, and sort of get lost and escape. But one of the great things about living in a city like Washington is you can get a sense of community as well. Those living in a small town, you may wonder, how on earth do you create community in such a big place like Washington? A lot of the community feeling is centered around different neighborhoods. Each neighborhood is a little bit different, and so neighbors inside each community work together to build, maintain, and support their community that they love and that they have created. And while DC can be very transient, there are a lot of people who are here for a short period of time, whether they're here with the State Department or the World Bank, maybe they're a diplomat from another country. There are a lot of people who come to Washington and stay, and a lot of them pick a neighborhood that they want to call home, and they stay for many, many years. So DC and Georgetown specifically can be very community-based, and today this video is going to talk about various groups that you can become a part of that help to build and maintain that community. So DC is not a state, as you probably know. It is a city, so the government is run very differently than it would be in a state where you have a governor and a state legislature. In DC, we have a mayor and we have a city council. Supporting that city council are various ANCs who work to support, to promote the interest of their particular neighborhood. Advisory neighborhood commissions and commissioners were designed to bring the government closer to people and also to make sure that each individual neighborhood was represented at that bigger city council and mayoral level. The ANC's main job is to make sure that each neighborhood has a voice in the government, a voice in the decisions that get made in our city. They meet monthly, and ANC commissioners are actually not paid. These are volunteer jobs that neighbors choose to do. They run for election just like you would any other elected office, but they are not paid, and they volunteer their time to make sure that the important issues that are being discussed in the neighborhood are being discussed at the ANC. And the ANC gets involved with policies and procedures and with police work. They get involved with neighborhood changes like roads and infrastructure, and they even get involved with making sure the neighborhood remains aesthetically the way that it was designed. And in Georgetown, that means they even get involved sometimes with home improvements that are on the exterior of the home, which could affect the historic nature of the property. The public can attend every ANC meeting, and they can even comment during certain parts of the meeting so they can make sure that their voice is being heard as these ANC commissioners discuss the important issues of the neighborhood. Another important group in Georgetown is CAG, or the Citizens Association of Georgetown, and every citizen of Georgetown can and should join this group. Their job is to help support the issues that really relate directly to citizens as opposed to issues that might relate to the businesses. CAG is a nonprofit group, again, made up of citizens. CAG works to promote safety, the tree canopy, to preserve the historic nature, and a lot of other interests that relate to the residents of Georgetown and just making their community a better place for residents to live. Speaking of trees, there is an entire group dedicated to the tree canopy in Georgetown. I told you it was important, and it is. And this group is called Trees for Georgetown. It has planted over 3,000 trees in the neighborhood, and they work to maintain those trees and to maintain that beautiful tree canopy. As I mentioned in another video, Georgetown has a lot of parks, and they are one of the special places in Georgetown to get some fresh air, some green space, to just create a beautiful atmosphere of respite. Some do have recreational facilities, but many are just there to be a green space for neighbors to meet, to gather, or just to relax. Each park has its own friends group, a nonprofit group put together to help sustain and maintain each of those individual parks. You can join any of these friends groups. So when you get to town, when you find your house in Georgetown, you can find your closest park or your favorite park, and you can become a part of that friends group at minimum by making a donation to make sure the park can be maintained, or maybe going further to be a volunteer or a member of the board. There are many community groups that represent or assist with residents in Georgetown too, and one of the best known is the Georgetown Village. And the Georgetown Village was started 10 years ago, and it was built to help seniors stay in their homes longer or as long as possible. The group plans programming and networking and exercise groups and coffee talks and lectures. And as a resident, you could become a Georgetown Village volunteer. Volunteers do all kinds of great things, like help with technology and computers. They help people change light bulbs that are very hard to reach in these old row homes with really tall ceilings. They help drive seniors to doctor's appointments and to the grocery store. And they help engage them with a sense of community and networking and just sheer fun. The Georgetown Village is a great community organization for all ages, because if you're not ready to be a member, you can be a volunteer. There are lots of ways to think about community, whether it's environmental or whether it's with people and residents. Georgetown has a lot of opportunities to be part of the community. It's a really sweet place to live. A lot of people live in Georgetown for years and years and years. And with that, they have created this beautiful sense of community. If you want to learn more about Georgetown, whether it's the community or the homes that we live in this beautiful neighborhood, the home that you could live in this beautiful neighborhood, you're in the right spot. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a video on Georgetown or Washington, DC.